What is going on, all you Pokemon collect maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and here we are with our weekly view of the biggest movers and shakers on TCG Player. And TCG Player sends us this information, and you know how much I love it when these big companies feed us this type of info, because I am always trying to keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on in the hobby in a more macro level. And when you talk about buying and selling Pokemon cards, I mean, TCG Player is one of the biggest that there is. So whenever they share this information, I think it is really cool. I think it's really fascinating. And one of my favorite things about this every single week is the diversity of this list. We all, myself included, we get caught up in the now. We get caught up in the latest and the greatest and the newest special illustration rares and the new sets and all of that. But every week it is fascinating to me to see the diversity on this list. Cards from different eras, cards from different sets, cards I haven't even thought about in the past. And the fact that TCG Player is calling it out, that means that even though you don't hear about it a lot, there's a lot of other people out there who are interested in these cards too. So I think it's really cool. And again, I am pumped to bring this list to you. And we're going to get into it as soon as I give my selfish plug, because we do a ton of work here on the PikaPikaPaPa channel. So if you enjoy this type of content and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and helps us out, and I really appreciate it. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And if you have questions or comments, drop them down below. So we're going to kick this off with, okay, we've seen these cards in the past. It was fascinating. One of these lists, I don't know, probably a month and a half ago at this point, was littered with Pokemon Center exclusive stamped promos. And to see another one from a set like Paldean Fates on the list this week, after we talked about Paldean Fates in length on Friday, got me so incredibly excited. I think these stamped promo cards are flying incredibly under the radar right now. And I think the Paldean Fates Pokemon Center exclusive Elite Trainer boxes as a whole are flying way under the radar. The market price for them is $68 right now. MSRP is $60. You can only get it from the Pokemon Center, right? That's it. You can't buy it from a local card shop or from anywhere else online, just the Pokemon Center. So you are almost forced into paying MSRP unless the price drops on the secondary market. And Paldean Fates is shaping up to be a great set. Things can change, right? Absolutely, but you got the Charizard holding over $100. You got the Bubble Mew fastly approaching $100. You've got it supported by all kinds of awesome baby shinies, which might not be the best cards in the long run, but I do think have an opportunity to kind of prop the set up with some uniqueness and some great chase characteristics to it. And this card is popping off to all the way up to $14.32. The artwork is awesome. I absolutely love it. It's stamped from it, so I thought it was really cool to see all of the attention this has gotten over the last week and to see that people are piling in and the price is rising. I mean, I challenge you, just look at any of the other Pokemon Center stamped exclusive cards because they are doing really well as well, especially in the earlier parts of Scarlet and Violet. It's just a really cool card. The next one we're talking about right here is a card that I've talked about in the past. I mean, I'm talking about a year ago, and this is the Umbreon, right? And this came in a 3-pack blister for Evolving Skies. So you got 3 Evolving Skies packs in the blister pack, and this was the promo card that came with it. And back then I said, listen, Evolving Skies is going to be, or Evolving Skies at that point was a monster set. I wasn't saying anything that everybody didn't already know. Booster boxes were already like $600. So we knew Evolving Skies was going to be a monster set. We knew that the Umbreon was actually the Pokemon of that whole set, right? We know, we've done tons of data dives, that 3-pack blisters have a very strong track record of performance. So guess what? That product we knew was going to do really well. And this card back then was sitting at $5, and it took a while for this card to get some heat. But guess what? It's all the way up at $8.50. Now, I'm going to do a giant caveat. I want you to look at the light blue bar there. The light blue bar. And you see what happened is 80 of them sold over the last week. This was clearly a buyout, everybody. That's what it was. You'll see that over the last year, this card has been working all the way up from September of 2023. It was a $3.50 card. It's been working its way up all the way to March of 2024 when it was a $5, $6 card. It worked all the way up to almost $8 in June of 2024. Then it started to work its way back down. And when it hit the $5 mark, somebody just went and bought a ton of them. I don't care. I don't care that it's at $8.50 now because of a buyout. What I care about is the trend line over the last year. The trend line for this card is really strong. The fact that these cards are incredibly hard to get in good condition, those 3-pack blisters absolutely beat them up. It comes from Evolving Skies for all of the intangibles that I've already noted. I think this is a great card, and I don't know if I'd pick it up right now because I do think it's going to drop a bit after the pop from this buyout, but I do think that this card sub $10 is an absolute steal, and if you can get it in the $5, $6 range, goodness gracious, I think it's a great card for the buy and hold. Is it going to be a $100 card someday? Absolutely not. But I will tell you that PSA 10s of this card are going for the $200 range on eBay right now. So buy it for $5-6 with the potential of a $200 flip. Again, super hard to get in PSA 10 holders because of the way the 3-pack blisters beat them up, but the chance is always there. So really cool card. Love seeing this one on the list. Next one right here, when I talk about cards that aren't even on my radar, this is certainly one of them. So when I saw this on the list of movers and shakers, I kind of paused for a minute because I was like, okay, TCG Player, clearly if you look at the graph down there, it is not what I would describe as a mover and or a shaker because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 cards have sold over the last year, but I think what they were talking about when they highlighted this card is the last couple sales have been significantly higher than they were before. So you see this card was chilling at about a $50 price point, and then it sold for $150, and then it sold for $200. So I thought, okay, TCG Player, I see what you're doing, but I'm gonna go on eBay and see where these prices are. But guess what? This thing is selling on eBay for $150 left and right, and this is it's from the Prize Pack series. We've seen these cards on this list before. And guess what? I even found the last PSA 10 of this card. You're not going to believe this. The last PSA 10 of this card sold on eBay 2 months ago for $2,500. Like, absolutely crazy. The artwork isn't necessarily stunning, but guess what? Because it's got that stamp in there, because it's a hard pull from the Prize Pack series, because it's hard to get in a PSA 10 Gem Mint holder, the last one, a validated sale, sold for $2,500 in a PSA 10 holder on eBay, and this card is routinely selling in the $150 range. So even though I don't necessarily think I would classify it as a mover and shaker, TCG Player, I see what you're doing. I do think it's a really cool addition to the list, and I thought we had to include it. Just really fascinating to see all of these Prize Pack. Again, if you've been watching this every single week, you know we've seen a ton of Prize Pack series cards that have been doing the same thing, just really exploding in price. Next one. This is a card that was on the list a short 2 weeks ago, but if you look, the price has continued to go up. It has continued to be a mover and a shaker. It has continued to grow. So this is from the Legendary Treasures Radiant Collection, right? This is the Mew EX, and I drew that green line flat across the top, because what I thought was interesting is this card has always had a decent amount of velocity. I mean, those are weekly light blue bar graphs by sales. I mean, this thing averages 5-6 sales per week, which you might think is not very big, and compared to ultra modern cards. But again, this is a card from I think 2013, and to have 5 or 6 sales of this per week over the course of the year, and look at the way the price has grown. I mean, there's something there. I've said it when this was listed on the very first video that we did. I said when you find these cards that have got some age to them, they have big names like Mew, they're from a Radiant collection, they're absolutely stunning. You can do far worse. I mean, this was a $35 card 5-6 months ago, right? Like, shame on me for not identifying that and saying, hey, listen, this card has some room for growth. This room has some opportunity to it, because it checks all of the boxes that I personally would be looking for. But I missed it, and it doesn't matter. You're not going to catch them all, unlike in the game. But guess what? This card is all the way up to $68, being on the movers and shakers list for a couple consecutive weeks. Really excited to see it. The next cards that are on this list, they're on it, but they're moving and shaking. The price is going in the wrong direction, but they certainly are moving with high velocity. And these are these Squirtle and Bulbasaur cards from Stellar Crown. I had a strong feeling that these cards were going to be wildly popular once the set came out. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not touching either of them with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to wait at minimum 3 to 4 months before I even evaluate where the prices are. I know Scarlet Violet has just been different. Like, traditionally, that was a safe play. Traditionally, you would wait 6, 8, 10 months before these cards would finally start to normalize from a pricing perspective. But Scarlet and Violet is just acting different. These cards are finding support early on. I mean, if you look at these 2 price points, it almost looks like Squirtle is already finding support at $40. And it looks like the Bulbasaur card is almost already finding support at $31. Now, I don't think that those are too crazy a price points, but it's way too early in the set's timeline to decide what we should be paying for these cards, at least for me. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. Does it mean I might pay too much in the long run? Sure, it might, but it's just what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to see how it works out. So I would love to hear your thoughts on Stellar Crown and how it has started out of the gate. Tell me what you think about these movers and shakers. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed the content and you want to see it every week, hit that subscribe button. If you have questions or comments, drop them down below. I appreciate you more than I can say. I hope you have an epic one, and I will talk to you all tomorrow on Monday. Thanks, everybody. Bye.